feel like I don't talk about Hades enough on this channel considering how much I love it. This is a game that has everything I want. The action is fun but not too complicated, there's a good variety of tools, a sword, a spear, a shield, a straight up assault rifle, my favorite ancient Greek weapon. It's got great visuals, great progression, great characters, and a great story, told in a way that manages to fit well with its roguelike loop while still being thoroughly engaging. It deserves a lot of credit for figuring out how to make that work, and also how to pull off side quests and endgame content with the structure. I don't think Hades needs to fix anything. Everything that it needed to fix was brushed up during early access, and that's part of why I never thought we'd get more Hades from Supergiant. The other part obviously being that they haven't made a sequel to any of their critically acclaimed games, but here we are with Hades 2 being revealed a couple of days ago at the Game Awards, and I want to talk changes. Hades is basically perfect, so what can it add to somehow create an even better experience? Some of the stuff I'm hoping for might be in the game right away, some might be added after the early access period, because yes, it is going into early access again, and some of it might not be in it at all. But considering that fan feedback is actually part of this game's development, it might be good to talk about what we want to see. Also, I was too lazy to edit any of the other videos that I've had written for over a week. Obviously, it would be really easy to come in here and say, new bosses, new weapons, new levels. Yeah, duh, they're gonna do all of that, okay? I'm not a walking game rant article. So instead of talking about the basic changes that we all already know, let's talk about mechanical changes, and the first one actually does revolve around weapons. The trailer for Hades 2 shows the new main character Melanoi holding two different weapons, a dagger and a sickle, one on each hand, and later gameplay also shows her with a staff, so we know about two loadouts. But more importantly, both of these could actually point to a major control and weapon change that for all intents and purposes is kinda like dual wielding. The right bumper could control the weapons in your right hand, the left bumper controls your left hand, and that opens up a whole lot of new combos. It would be a major control scheme change, and maybe it's wishful thinking, but unlike the fist weapon from the first game, the knife and sickle dual wield isn't a clone on the left and right side, so even though a natural back and forth left hand right hand combo might just automatically happen and is all controlled by one button, there is a chance that they make it a little bit deeper this time around. If you notice with the staff, Melanoi also changes between her left and right hand during her combo, even though she's holding the spear with just one. The fact that the staff is also shown to have you switching hands makes me just a bit more confident that a more complicated dual wield system could be coming. Alternatively, this switch could just be a part of the regular combo of this staff and it's all happening just by hitting one button, same as the first game, or, and this would be my favorite option, maybe different weapons have unique properties outside of their moveset. The dagger and sickle could be a traditional dual wield, the staff might let you equip a secondary magical ability, the right hand attack is magic after all, and another weapon might be transformative in some way, a long range weapon that could break in two for example. I could be wrong on all of this, but I would love to see the weapons be given more unique effects than the last game. Hades 1 wasn't lacking in this by any means, but this could be a cool next step. Either that or just adding support spells that you could choose at the beginning of each run with your weapon would be a nice addition. There's clearly a big emphasis on magic in this game, so maybe one of the abilities in the first game could be replaced by a customizable, upgradable spell system. You always gotta be careful with a roguelike with how much choice you give the player versus how much is completely random, but I do think we will see a more robust spell system alongside the new weapons. I initially thought that it might replace the casting mechanic from the last game, but if you look at this boon screen you can see that casting still exists, although there is a new, likely replenishing resource called magic. I assume that's similar to an SP bar and all but confirms a full-on spell mechanic. Melanoi's translucent arm could also maybe be something that shifts and transforms into different weapons during gameplay. I'm kinda just spitballing here, I know in my heart that there's no real way to incorporate and balance all of this stuff, but it's fun to think about. At one point in the trailer we also maybe see the new way to upgrade your character, brewing potions that improves your stats and abilities, and this made me think of two things. One, and this is assuming that this potion system is meant to replace the mirror that Zagreus had, I wonder if we're gonna get cosmetic changes tied to upgrades. This is a more physical change that Melanoi seems to be undergoing, so it would be cool if your magic or clothing or eyes took on different colors depending on your strength or maybe your upgrade path. Spells could maybe be in a few different trees and you could really build your playstyle and have it reflected directly on your character's look. You could change the look of your hub last time, but I always wish that there was more persistent cosmetic changes during the dungeon crawling. And two, as a bit of an extension of that idea, I wonder if this game might have a morality system. In Hades 1, the only real choice you had was who to, how do I put this slightly, make whoopee with, take to Pound Town, toss a hot dog in a hallway. You know, some of these are really ineffective. I looked up different ways to say sex and I got hit with stuff like, bringing the al dente noodle to the spaghetti house. Why would Did you have sex with the Riddler? Hades had an amazing story without choice, and sometimes I think choice actually waters down and ruins aspects of some game stories, but if we're dealing with witchcraft, it could be cool to have a more evil route we could take. I don't know how this would be incorporated into the narrative and whether it would even work if this series is to continue, but it would suit the dark magic witchcraft vibe. Your chosen path could also bleed into gameplay a little bit, kind of like Infamous, where certain abilities were locked behind a certain morality and others were blocked off. That would be pretty cool. Speaking of the story, it looks like the main driving force here is freeing your pops, Hades, from Kronos, the Titan of Time. First of all, awesome. Kronos is an amazing choice of villain. Time is such a fun concept to play around with. But second, to take him on, you might need to master certain time-related spells yourself, which I feel like they might be hinting to with this line.
Time cannot be stopped.
If you do get time-related powers, that could be momentarily slowing down time and dealing lots of damage, or being able to rewind a second or two if you're in a tight spot. And even if you don't personally get those powers to try and counteract Kronos, I'm still excited to see how those abilities are going to affect his boss fight and the lead up to it. I'm thinking maybe the Styx equivalent in Hades, that last area before the boss, shifts around in time to trap you or put up roadblocks, changing back and forth like Titanfall 2 did. Just like Witchcraft, I think the concept of time is going to play a big role in this game. The trailer also shows you interacting with animals, which could just be a fun side thing to do, or it could be a little frog, dog, and groundhog companions. You never know. They could also maybe give you blessings that alter your dash or movement. Again, pure conjecture here, and it's going to be really funny to see how much of this is wrong by the time the game comes out, but they did say that they're going to have new upgrade systems, so who am I to think small? Something that's not directly hinted at in the trailer, but I'm just hoping for generally, is an expansion of your interactions with the gods. Namely, more side quests that feel like the ones with Achilles and Patroclus, or Eurydice and Orpheus, but this time with the bigger players as well, alongside your more personal companions. Just being out there, giving advice, changing their lives, making them worse, pissing them off, whatever. I'd also love to see the rooms with multiple boons be changed to reflect the gods they're associated with even more. What I mean by that is, the first game had you go to these rooms with two symbols where you could pick which god's boons to take, and the other one would get mad at you and attack you with enemies and some environmental hazards tied to their powers. But maybe this time we could get rooms where Artemis has you performing a ranged challenge, or Athena gives you a maze or puzzle with a time limit. Just adding more variety to the gameplay and making each god feel even more distinct. You'd probably need some form of punishment if you mess it up, so that it's not just a free room where you don't take damage, but you could have a boon taken away or a permanent debuff if you fail. The last thing I want to mention is maybe the least likely, which is saying a lot because some of those ideas were really far-fetched, but this is like a whole other side objective. Given we have a little duel with Hecate in the animated section of the trailer that suggests she's training you, I think it'd be awesome to have an arena mode to test out different weapons and skills inside the hub world, instead of just wailing on poor old Skelly for 20 minutes when you're given a new toy. It could be in its own little side room with waves of enemies, boons or upgrades given after each wave, and even conjured up bosses that you've found and beat in the game so far. Hecate can make these projections of them, really train you up, and maybe you even fight her in a sparring match at the end if you get through it all. It'd be a fun side activity that's mainly just reworked main content in a new format, and even if they don't go as far as what I described here, I do think some sort of training ground will be included for you to mess around with your weapons, since Hecate seems to be greeting you into a boss arena at the end of the trailer, and unless they're really spoiling some twists for us here, that's probably a friendly match to build up your abilities. Truth be told, if they just made Hades again with new characters, weapons, bosses, and levels, I'd be more than happy with that. There's no need to go overboard with the changes, and I'd be shocked if they actually go out and make game-changing moves with this sequel. But despite how tightly crafted the original Hades was, there's still a lot of opportunities to expand on its concepts and build something even bigger and better. I have no doubt that Hades 2 is going to be amazing no matter what they do, and I just wanted to make a quick video on it because it was my favorite reveal from the Game Awards, even with Armored Core. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this slightly different video. The more traditional ones will be coming down the pipeline, but I am going back home for a little bit, a few weeks, so it makes making videos a little bit harder, but we'll get through it. If you're new here, subscribe, join the Discord, it's in the description, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.